Ah, thank you very much for that one, Cuddy. Hello, everyone. Hope you're all doing all right and hope enjoying your day, even with the snow putting a dampener. But we're gonna have some snowball fights tonight, right? Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, my name is Rajae, and I'm with the Robin Hood Youth Orchestra, and this is like the Q&A section of your day. So, just my first question to you, Cuddy. How has your day been?
Just checking this is working. A second. Now it is. No? Oh, hello, hello. Hello, hello. My mic isn't working. So, okay. Um, oh, thank you. Thank you. That's better. My day's been fine, although I was completely snowed in because I'm in sort of the north part of Nottingham. So I got an Uber today, which is fine.
Yes, very fine. Very fine. Nice. And you talked about like diversity and sustainability. How has how have you managed to like navigate that being a person of color through the music industry and having like your children grow up with like a classical music as a very um, non-person of color genre of music?
Yeah, I think when they were young, it was a battle because we had lots of people saying to us, well, why classical music? Because this is something they're not going to do well in. There's no place for them. You're setting them up to fail. So we were always pushing against, I suppose, a perception. But actually, classical music itself, or the musicians, in fact, all musicians, the music world is incredibly welcoming. And I do think the world of performing arts is one which is very open and made it very easy for the children. I think the difficulty is perception. And it's also music education because it's not available to everyone. So the kind of people that get to conservatoires or to the music profession are a particular kind of people as a majority. So I think it's finding your place in that world. It's not classical musicians or the music profession itself. It's how it's access.
Do you think that if, say, like the government made music like a core subject, a lot more people will be in the music industry now, and like it'd be taken more seriously as like you can find a job in music. It's not one of those where it's like, oh well, you can't do this. Like, but as soon as you do music, there's no job. You got to be a doctor or something with like a more like known profession. Do you think like if the government made it a core subject, that will change and music will be seen as more a serious thing?
I think definitely I have a problem with this core subject thing because what it does is set up subjects against each other. I have no problem with maths and English and all the other core subjects because I think every subject is important. But I think once you say there's a small group of subjects which are important and the rest, which is of course all the arts, are not, they're just extras or they're touchy-feely or they have a certain function, then you're already making sure that a lot of children's parents are not going to want them to choose that. And also when you take the funding away, you shore that up as well. So yes, it will make a complete difference if we learn to respect music again.
Oh, cool. And having 7 children that are very much well excellent in their music careers, how do you navigate being, as in like being a mother and then taking them to their shows and their lessons, and like what routine do you have that keeps you ticking every day?
Well, well, now it's a lot easier because 6 of them now have left home. They're students they've got their own professions and they're living in London. They come home quite a lot, but I've only got one permanently at home now. But when they were young, yes, it was a full time, 24 hours a day job. And I think Stuart and I, my husband, were constantly exhausted. But then all parents are constantly exhausted, so I suppose we were part of that. But yes, I think the only way you can get children to be excellent at anything is they have to do it every day. There has to be a regime, there has to be a routine, and you have to be absolutely passionate about it. Because I think if you're not, it's not going to happen.
It's true. Like it's like if you're not pushing them, it's it's kind of, it doesn't look badly on you, but then it's like how far can you go without pushing them off that subject, like taking them away from it, you know. Obviously you have 7 kids, so do you have like a system of like which person's show you will go to, if they're all like different times, or like how would you like say, okay, look, I'll go to your show on Monday, your show on Wednesday, and what happens? What happens?
Actually, that's a really important point. It's a constant problem because of course, all their concerts are clashing with each other. So what we do, we have this ridiculous calendar which has several things on every day, which we find very difficult to read. And we decide which one of us is going to which concert. And sometimes we involve extended family. So I'll get my mum or my sister or Stuart's sister or some relative or someone to be there, because it's nice when someone's there. But it has got really difficult now. They're touring around the world because obviously we can't get a flight everywhere. But even then we try and be equal. So Stuart and I went to see Easter at Carnegie Hall in the summer. But that means that then we have to go and see someone somewhere else. So we try and do that. We try and sort of have special trips. And sometimes we get it completely wrong. So Stuart and I booked a trip to go somewhere and then realised that both Easter and Shaky were performing in Belper, which is very near to here, and there was nobody here. So we get things wrong.
Oh, but it's nice. It's nice that you're like given an even support, so no one feels left out.
Well, sometimes they do.
Oh, they do? Okay, never mind.
And then we have to equal things up.
Oh, my days. Okay. Right. Do you know what? I do sympathise. I have my younger brother who also plays the trombone, and some concerts he can't make when I'm and then some concerts that he does I can't make. So it's almost like, look, I love you, but like I can't. But yeah. So I was wanting to open the question up to you guys and see if any of you have any questions. Don't all shout at once. No? Oh, we've
There's
got
a
one.
mic coming over.
Ooh, okay.
Hi, thank you. Hi, my name's Wisdom. Love seeing your children grow up and what they've been doing since for a while, actually. But I'm interested as to, beyond the musical part, how did they find the transition into being effectively freelancers and freelance musicians? Because it feels as though there's a lot of training and support around the actual learning of the instrument, but then navigating the world once you've left a conservatoire seems to be a part that a lot of people don't know. And particularly having so many children they probably had more of an opportunity to learn from one another. So what were the things that they were able to learn that they weren't learning within the system?
Yes, I totally agree with you. I don't think conservatoires in general are necessarily linked with teaching people how then to have careers afterwards. My older 4 went to the Royal Academy of Music, and then the 5th one went to the Royal College. And I think it's that step they found with a lot of the students that they went to conservatoire with, that was a very difficult step, because the training is often how do you become a soloist? So how do you become excellent at your instrument? How do you become excellent in the institution? That step into the wider world, it's terrifying. I think we were lucky because while they were students, they got a manager. A manager is everything. And so that manager was able to help them craft their career and give them concerts and do all of that. But if you haven't got a manager, if you're truly freelance, I think that's incredibly difficult. And I remember Brymer saying that he had friends who were offered chance to train in an orchestra while they were still a student, and the conservatoire wouldn't let them. And so they just did it secretly, because otherwise, how do you get a career? It's very difficult.
I'm getting there.
So I have a 14-year-old mixed-race son who's a phenomenal orchestral percussionist, but he really struggles with representation, and he just doesn't see that world as a world for him. And at the moment, at 14, which is probably same for a lot of 14-year-olds. He's really into the whole rap, R&B, jazz fusion, which is a great way to go if he wants to go. But I just wonder how you dealt with your horde of children and how they felt about the lack of representation as they were younger, looking ahead.
I think we were really lucky because there were 7 of them. They had each other. And I think they never felt isolated because of that, because there was always someone else in the family doing that. Also, and this is why I think that school is so important. They went to 2 schools where, the primary school and the secondary school, where music was absolutely part of the framework. I mean, music was central to everything the school did. And there was lots of music going on. It was also a very mixed school in a very diverse area. So everybody was playing music. So they didn't feel that there was something weird that they were doing. But I think that is disappearing. I think it's very difficult to find a school like that now. Even the school they went to has lost so much funding for music. It's not the same as it was. And then, of course, they went to the Junior Royal Academy on Saturdays, where they were kind of the only ones, but at least in the weekday that they could. But there is a lot of support out there. There are charities and music institutions which do support children, and there are, I mean, like the Robin Hood Orchestra here, there are places where there are other people who are doing what you do. And I think it's that collaboration is really important, and finding groups and finding other people. So we did that. They had each other, but they also found groups and spaces where they were accepted and could collaborate.
Any more questions? Oh.
Hi again. So just building on the representation, I know we spoke earlier about in my classroom at my school, there's QR codes people can scan and they can feel seen. Do you not think, or do you think, on a wider scale, those people who are already in the public eye, in the public image, that they have a duty to speak out and, excuse the pun, make more noise about their feeling of being represented in their communities?
I think they do. I mean, I think my children are very, very keen to always be giving back and always speaking out about this. It's actually very difficult if you are a performing artist to be doing 2 things at the same time. And it's a responsibility, but it's also a pressure. It's one they take very, very seriously. I think it is very important that musicians do this. And I think it's also realistic to know that if you have a very busy performing career, you can't do it all the time. But yes, it is important, and I think that children need role models. They need inspiration, and my own children found lots of inspiration. For example, I remember Nicola Benedetti coming to the concert hall and doing a concert, and then afterwards she met the audience. I remember Brymer going up there with his program and her signing the program and talking to him, and he never forgot that. And I think they never forget when other musicians do it for them. How important it was. So yes, I do think that's incredibly important.
Do we have any more questions? Going once? Going twice? All right. So, what advice or words of wisdom would you give for anyone that's trying to get their foot into the music industry, or just a bit unsure, is this where I belong type of thing? What would you say?
I would say definitely do it. I think what people don't realise before they go on and study or go into go to university or join an orchestra or whatever they do, they don't know how many avenues there are. Because I think before my children went to conservatoire, they didn't really realise that you could go into, you don't have to just be a soloist. You can join an orchestra, or you can go into music management, or you can go into any of the performing arts. You can collaborate with the drama world, ballet, dance, anything. And there are so many, teaching, there are so many avenues you can go into which you don't know until you try. And I think it's an incredibly vibrant, exciting world. And any of the creative performing arts, if you enter one of them, it opens up the world for you. So I would say definitely go for it.
I like that answer. That's a very, very good answer, and it's true. What would you say for would you agree that music is, in some ways, who you know. Would you agree that's correct? And like, how would you like change that so it's more everyone can know someone rather than it's just, oh, I know this guy, so he's going to take me to this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy.
I think it's about joining in. I mean, the way my children got into it is they joined local orchestras. They joined got involved in local competitions, and like for example, Nottingham Musician of the Year. If you won that, you got to play with Genogli Community Orchestra. You don't even have to win that to play with them. You can. There are amateur orchestras which you can get. Play your concertos with. You can join local orchestras. They've got lots of links with teachers, different things going on. It's about collaborating and joining in, and that's how you get to know people, actually.
I like that. And with like your book, how you talk about like managing like the path that you took, what inspired you to like write that book, and how does it feel like? Like, to me, you're a celebrity. I'll just put that out there now. And how do you just manage just waking up and be like, I'm that person? How does without like sounding too crude? How do you just manage that?
Do you know, it's not like that. I think anyone who's in music knows that to become excellent at an instrument and to be in the profession, you've got to work really hard. And actually, it's about practice every day, and it's about the lows as well as the highs. And in fact, when you're inside it, you are concentrating on the lows far more often than you're concentrating on the highs. And I think also with 7 children, there's always 1 or 2 or 3 who are having a bad time. There might be someone who's done a brilliant concert, but there is someone else who's struggling with something else. So I think you have to be realistic and focus on that. People see the bright, happy times. Someone's gone on stage, they've gone something, someone's opened the proms, whatever. But meanwhile, there's someone else there crying because they've got an injury or something's gone wrong or they can't learn a piece or all sorts of things. So that is, in fact, the reality of it. And I think I wrote the book because people kept asking me, what's it like? And I thought, no, I want to tell the truth about what's it like, what it's like, which is actually really hard work. And but, really great as well.
I love that. Thank you so much. And that is the end of our Q&A round, guys. Can we give a massive thank you to Kadiatu Kanneh-Mason?